Hi, welcome to Too Emotional. I'm your host, Katie.
It's my Katie bags. I'm coming with you, homegirl.
This is the place where we all gonna be too emotional together. Welcome back to Too Emotional. I'm your host, Katie. Today we have Lisa Marie and Amanda. They are co-writers. They're on their third book, right? You guys are writing your third
Yeah,
book?
we're working on our third.
They recently won the International Impact Book Awards in romance. They are best friends. They've been writers forever, and they are just the best. I've known Lisa Marie for almost 10 years now because she's known my husband
Yes.
since he was a teenager.
Yes.
Yeah.
And fun fact, Lisa Marie and Amanda threw my oldest baby shower.
Yes.
Hi, how are you guys today?
Doing good. Thank you. Good to be here.
Yeah,
Good.
we
I'm
have
so excited to
birthday
talk to
now.
you. Your first two books are amazing. They are
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
so sweet and so cute and so funny, and I love them. And we're just gonna kind of jump right on into it. We're gonna talk about mental health in writing and how it's affected you guys and just your experience. So let's start from
Yeah.
the very, very beginning. How did you guys start writing? Were you writing before? Did you come up with the idea together? Like, how did that start?
Right, go ahead.
Okay. So, all right. Well, I've got to start at the very beginning. Okay. So, Amanda, our kids knew each other, and one day Amanda wanted me to read a book, and I said, "No, I'm good. I'm good." And then she kept pestering me, and I was like, "Okay, I'll read it," but I didn't. And eventually, she turned up on my doorstep with the book. And I was like, wow, she really wants me to read it.
Yeah.
And anyways, it was a Twilight series back in the day.
Oh,
Mhm.
I see what you
And
want
so I
to
read it, obviously loved it, and we became kind of, Twilight fans. However, when Eclipse was being released, Stephanie Meyer had a prom at ASU, and the tickets sold out in no time. So,
No time.
there was no tickets available. And that Saturday, Amanda calls me up. She goes, "Do you feel like gate crashing prom?" And I was like, "Oh, heck yeah." That's when I realized she's my girl, right? But the writing part of things, we become best friends and everything, but and because we loved the Twilight series, we would always share what we thought would
Our
come
theories.
next. We had our theories, and yes. And anyways, as Breaking Dawn came out, we found all of our theories were smashed. We were very wrong.
Very wrong.
And we were a little bit disappointed because we thought what we come up with was good.
Yeah.
And so anyways, after a while of being a bit critical, we realized, well, we've never written a book. We got no right to tell any, to like, oh, they should have done it the way we liked it, And so I gave Amanda a book one day, and I says, write a page. And she wrote a page, gave it to me. I wrote a page, and we went back and forth like that.
That was like a journal.
Just like a journal, but we were writing a story, and we ended up completing that. And so we've put that one on the shelf. We're going to revisit that one because obviously
we didn't know what we were doing.
We did not know what we were doing as far as writers. And so it's been over a process of going to conferences and classes, relearning the English language kind of thing.
Stuff has changed since we were in school.
Yeah, punctuations and things like that, they have changed.
Yeah.
And, so we've had to kind of relearn and, and then we've decided to, try our hand.
Yeah.
Because
What year was that? Like, how long ago was that when you wrote the first book?
It was probably like,
oh my gosh,
2010.
Yeah, probably. Yeah,
probably around 2010.
Yeah,
a long time.
Long time.
Okay, how long after you wrote your first book did you start writing Men and Books Aren't Better? That's the first one you wrote. What?
Wow. That's the first one we've released. Yes.
Okay, yes.
Yeah. So Men and Books Aren't Better, we were querying that in 2019. So
a long time.
9 years later, lots of learning, big learning curve. And in 2019, we started writing Men and Books Aren't Better because we got our agent in 2021.
Yeah.
Okay, so break that process down for me because I have no idea how it works. Do you write the book and then send it to agents? Do you get how does that all work?
Yeah, so you write a book. Your best bet is to have beta readers. Then these have to be people who are really going to tear it apart. It can't be your friends and family who are going to be like, they're so great, you know, kind of thing. You want someone who's really going to be critical. And you have to, it's really hard. Like, so speaking of mental health,
it comes with a price.
It comes with a price.
I was going to ask you, how does that hurt your soul?
Oh,
so much.
I think
I mean, we have toughened up. I mean, like
Yes.
to write, I would say you need to have a tough skin
Yeah.
because it's devastating in the beginning.
How many beta
Because,
readers do you have?
oh gosh,
We had like 6 or 7
mhm.
for the first one.
And we said you need to be brutal, but they did do it. You know, they were writers themselves, so they did know what you
What you
need.
needed.
And some of the criticisms start off with you take a little personal.
Oh, it's so hard not to.
I'm very emotional, so there was times when I go away, have a little cry or something. And
Yeah, she took it harder than I did.
Yes.
But she's gotten much, much better.
yes,
Did you
but
ever want to
yeah,
give up? Like, did it make you want
yes,
to?
yes.
But I
What
wouldn't let her.
kept you going? How did you keep going?
Well, this is we always say because, like, for me, I think I don't know how individual writers do it because
No.
there is a lot of criticism, and and even bullying online,
Mhm.
regarding your work, and so I don't know how people do it as an individual because I have my co-writing bestie here who, if I'm getting low, will just like pull me back up again and put my big girl panties on,
Yeah.
What do you tell her? Like,
Just
how do
burn
you,
down your face, put those on.
what pep talk do you give her for that? Like, how do you give me the pep talk?
Oh, it's mostly that, like we have good ideas and I just
Mhm.
point out all the positive things that we do have. Like we wrote a book, we're actually doing this. We have some interest. People do like these aspects, that kind of thing. And just keep going. Like in all honesty, Men in Books was her idea. Like she's the one who came up with it. So it wouldn't be what it is without her. And I had to keep reminding her of that. And so as long as I just keep doing that and pointing out all the positive of the stuff that people did like versus the stuff that they didn't, I'd bring her up out of it and be like, that's okay. We don't have to take all their advice because not all of it works, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But,
How much
all those
revising
little
do you do
positives.
after the beta readers? How much did you guys do?
Oh, well, okay, so we do the first draft and you try not to edit as you go because otherwise you'll never finish.
Never finish.
So we'll do the first draft, which is horrible. Wouldn't want anyone to see it.
Yeah.
Then you go back over, you fill in all the little missing pieces because for a while stuff stays in your head.
Yeah.
But you think you've communicated it and you haven't. And then we'll do several edits, send it off to beta readers. They will come back with any critiques or any problems that they found. And then we have to go back in to redo that. So we might have another couple of rounds of edits before we even consider sending it off to our agent, who then goes through it and lets us know if there's any other issues that she sees, and you'll have to fix those, and then she will put it out for submission to editors, to editors and publishers. But then they'll come back with their critiques. And so there's critiques every way, but the thing is ultimately it will make you a better writer.
Mm-hmm.
You've just got to be able to hang in there long enough that it stops hurting and you see it as constructive.
Yeah.
Because I could have gone in the fetal position at one point.
100%. Has that played into other parts of your life? Like has it helped you take criticism in other areas of your life or just in writing?
Yes.
Yeah, I think we end up, because we understand the process and things, like you have a bigger understanding for the arts in general.
Yes.
And so you end up like, oh, well, like certain movies, like we'll just say the Twilight, like we loved the Twilight series and then there was the movies and we aren't fans of the movies, but there are tons of people that are. But it's one of those things where now that we understand the process, we know what goes into stuff. We know that Stephanie probably didn't have a lot of say on certain things. And, there is a limit to what she can do and what she had control over. And maybe she didn't picture it going that way, or she wouldn't have cast those people, or she would have cast those people or whatever. And so we have like there's more patience for it. So even though we don't like it, we still respect that it might not have been her input. It might have been, like there's really so much creative control she would have. And just little things like that. So we have more patience for things like that because we realize that there's a whole behind the scenes thing in just about every job and everything that you just don't know.
Yeah.
Like unless you've walked a mile in someone else's shoes, you don't know what they're going through.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you guys know Bridgerton? Have you ever seen Bridgerton?
Oh, love it.
Yes. We used to watch a TikTok last night where the Bridgerton author, she was talking about how when she gave up the rights, she gave up like basically all creative rights for the show because she knew how big of a deal it was and she didn't want to mess it up. So she was like, do what you want. And I feel like when they get a lot of critique that it's not similar to the books. Have you read the books?
Yes.
Yeah.
I love them so much.
Mhm.
But they're
Yeah.
a lot of them are different. And so it's wild to hear like those different perspective of like, no, I just wanted it to go to Netflix. Like that's a big deal.
Yeah.
It's
Like,
a huge
Yeah.
deal. Huge deal.
like,
Oh,
We would love
huge.
that.
I
uh-huh.
know.
That's insane. Okay, so we're gonna go way back. So
Yeah.
you get you write your book for your agent.
Mhm.
Do you send her, how do you poach agents? Like, do you just, how do you find an agent?
So the best thing, if someone's actually looking, there's two different websites. One is manuscript wish list, and it lists agents and what they're looking for, what genres they like, stuff like that.
Okay.
And you can go off of that. And then there's Query Tracker, which is a great, almost like Excel type of thing that has its own data bank of agents, but also will keep track of things. Like it'll tell you like how long your query's been out there, that kind of thing, and if maybe you need to check up on it, or
Yeah.
if an
If it's
agent,
being looked at,
yeah,
if
things
it's
like that.
pending. Yeah.
And you just kind of keep trying. And we had over 100 between two manuscripts, because we did try with our first manuscript, but we
Mhm.
shouldn't have. But
We shouldn't
that's
know.
okay.
It needs work.
Getting
It
out
needed
there.
more work.
Yeah.
It's a learning
But
process.
Yes.
right, we had over 100 rejections between the two before we found our agent, and they
Mhm.
are devastating.
Oh, yeah. It can
It's
be
so
really
hard.
crushing.
How quickly do you get like the rejection? Like, how long did the process take before you found an agent? And at what point were you super, super close to giving in?
Oh,
It took
Or
two
was there
years.
a point?
yeah.
Yeah, it took 2 years to get the agent. Um, And as far as like rejections, it depends on the agent. Some agents are super quick. Some will take like 6, 9, 10 months to get back to
Hmm.
you. And
Yeah.
that's just,
Goodness.
It's a waiting game.
it's
It
a
is.
waiting
I mean,
game.
like my family's like, you've written a book. Why haven't you got it out there? Why? Because it's
Yeah,
such a
it's a
process.
huge
It
process.
is
And the thing
wild.
is that, mentally you're dealing with how the publishing world works and all the critique and the rejections and everything else. You're working with that in addition to those that know you've written a book, nagging you
Mhm.
like, how have you not become a success? When's it going to be a movie? When is it? And that pressure that you feel to do better than you currently are, because you're just starting out and not everybody's going to have the next Harry Potter, and even Harry Potter got rejected.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure those publishing houses have regrets, but
Yeah.
I bet.
I don't, there's, other than already having a name out there, you're going to get rejections, and you do have to see them in a positive light and not take them to heart. And because with the process, somebody you could, because you've got to do a synopsis, which is almost harder than writing the book, to
Oh,
be honest.
it's such a different process.
Because you don't leave out any
Any
details,
details.
but you've got to do it on a page,
Yeah.
so you got to write your book on a page, but make it interesting, and while giving away all your secrets.
Uh-huh.
You've got to do your cover letter, and they could read your cover letter,
Query letter.
your query letter. They could see that you've got a typo in there maybe, or they could see that your
Yeah.
punctuation wasn't good, and they won't even look at your manuscript. So everything's got to be perfect, even down to your query letter, because your query letter lets them know, well, I'm going to have lots of problems within that manuscript if they can't even do a letter
Yeah.
and make me interested in the letter. And so, yeah.
A lot of
And then when
pressure on
they've
it.
read that, you've got to then impress them with your synopsis. And then you have to hope they want your book. And usually you only send off like so many pages of your book.
Yeah. A couple chapters, or just
Mhm.
10 pages or
And then
something
they'll
like
do
that.
a full manuscript request. But yeah, it really can take its toll on you. I had no idea. I had no idea.
Was there moments where it felt like your worth was tied to that? Like, was there moments where you were like, I'm just a failure? Like, this is not.
Yes.
Yes. Even so, it's a never ending. It's called imposter syndrome.
Mhm.
And even last night, we had a book event last night, and we actually did really well. But I was telling Lisa Marie that halfway in the middle of like telling the spiel, I'm like, what am I doing with my hands? What am I doing? I don't like my hands anymore.
Where do they go?
And then I'm like, my voice sounds bad. Oh my gosh, are they like hating my voice? Oh my gosh, I don't like this anymore.
Yeah.
Like,
Have I always sounded like this? Is this what I always sa-
Yeah.
yes.
And yet our table was swarmed with
Yeah.
people. We couldn't keep on top of who we were talking to.
Yeah.
And so we were clearly, at first glance, doing well,
Yeah.
and we were selling books, you know, and everything, and we hardly had time to keep replenishing the books that were on the table. It went so well. However, you know,
inside,
the whole time you're like, that, you know, that author has more than us. She must be amazing. Oh, we're so bad. And, you know, but you're always second guessing yourself.
always second guessing.
And, you know, when you turn up at an event, you're literally sitting there hoping somebody comes, because you don't know. It's all, you know, it's all just wish and hopes and winging it, really, when you do events. Yeah, because it could go well, or I mean, we've been fortunate that we're both talkative, and being best friends as well. We bounce off each other, so you know, we and we'd be very proactive in approaching people. You know, about our books. So we don't always wait for them to come to us. We'll come to them. But it's took a while to get that confidence also. Yeah.
But even with all the confidence, so she wasn't here. She was back in Alaska, but I went to the Tucson Festival of Books to try and sell some. But the crowd was mostly fantasy. And so no matter how much I tried to like bring people in, they weren't interested in romance. And we only sold 3 books there. And the Tucson Festival of Books is actually like the biggest book event in Arizona. And it's random, you know, like the guy who was next to me said he was the fantasy author and he sold 10 books, which is still marginally good. I mean, good for like right where we were, but still not fantastic for as many people who were there. And he said, oh, but last year the romance author next to me sold more, you know, so it's just a roll of the dice of who you're going to get.
Who's going to come. And it's so hard to not internalize that, because like they don't like me, but it's not that they don't like you. They just don't, they like fantasy. And everyone has a different preference, but it's still so hard to not take personal.
It was, especially because I had this guy next to me who people keep going up to him, and I'm just like,
and to be embarrassed.
Yes. Yeah. That like, oh, I'm so glad that I bought 25 books and I sold 3. You know, like it's humbling to walk away from that.
Yes.
And tell everybody, because of course everybody knows you're there. And having to explain, like I'm even calling Lisa Marie, I'm like, I'm so sorry. And of course she's like, it's not you. It's you know, she's so positive about it. But I just felt like I let her down and I let our book down. And you know, like it's really humbling.
Yeah.
How do you navigate that with like last night where you guys sold a lot of books and you were doing amazing and all of that? How do you not let the highs take over and the lows take over? Does that make sense?
Yeah. Well, I think because as you go through the writing process and, you know, you get to a certain point where you realize you've got to take critiques as critiques and not criticism, and your skin thickens up. I do think that you start to learn to take the small wins, you know, like if you get a good review, it's a win. We love it. You know, if you get, we don't even care what you've put in the review. I mean, at one point, Amanda set it up that her husband would read all the reviews so that we didn't have to, because it would break our hearts. But we actually toughened up enough that we can, because the negatives is important as the positive, because I mean, sometimes you're just not somebody's person, and there's nothing you can do. It's not the quality of what you've done. It's just not everything is for everyone. But then there might be somebody that will put something you think, oh, didn't think of that. You know what? That I need to work on in the next one. And so, you know, it's great that way. But you have to take the small wins. And I think that goes for life in general. You have to take the small wins, because there's lots of things that will bring you back down, and you've got to remind yourself of the times when, hey, this went really well. What did we do different? Or what was the differences and stuff like that? And it was like, you can't help if fantasy readers turn up and you're a romance writer. You can't help it. You know, it's just one of those things. But if you've got a fancy book that you loved, you can always give them a recommendation.
Well, it's funny. I'm glad she talked first, because I was going to be like, last night was a fluke.
It really wasn't, though, because we did a book event last year in Seattle.
And it went well.
And it went so well. We ended up using our own stock of books in addition to what they had provided. So, you know, it's the luck of the draw when we turn up for something. We don't know what to expect, but we're lucky because we've got a support system.
We're much better together
within ourselves. And so that's really nice. If one of us is having a bad day, the other one picks them up, and so just kind of like any aspect of life, it's like you need your husband or your boyfriend or your friend or your bestie, there's always someone that you need to like just kind of pull you up by the britches and remind you it's going to be okay.
Support system.
Yeah, support is everything.
We're going to switch topics just a tiny, tiny bit because I thought of something. When something is going on in your life outside of books, like your personal life, something is going outside of it, does it ever affect your writing? Have you ever had to take a break? Have you ever be like, I'm not in it today. Like, I can't do this. Like, how do you know when to take breaks and how do you set yourself up to be able to write and to work?
Okay, so we recently had something, but there will be things that come up in life and you might have to just take a beat. Usually they're not something that takes too long, but if say, I mean, we've had kids growing up through this process. And so if the school calls, it's like, adios, I'll work later. And off you go and take care of business because you still got to be sensible, right? But just recently, the past 6 months, I was over in England. I went over last September and I went for a vacation and to visit my mom. And I thought I was going to be there for a month max, Anyways, while I was over there, the doctors told her she did not have long to live. And they told me it would be a mistake for me to leave. And so I stayed and nursed my mom. Now, in the beginning, we would try and get on as, ever so often, as much as I could possibly do. But obviously, as my mum got sicker and I was her sole carer, and she wanted to stay at home, it got to a point where my nights would be disturbed. And I might be, if I wasn't doing something to help her in the daytime, I might be taking a nap to catch up on the sleep I lost in the night. And, and I'm going back and forth with doctors and everything else. And it entailed so much more than I could even envision. And so Amanda then just turned into my bestie. And we had to switch off right to things. And, but in say that if ever there was an idea, we share teams and we share documents. And so, if there was an idea that popped in her head and she didn't want to disturb me, she would type it and leave it in there. And I could check in there anytime I wanted to. So sometimes you do, you have to be sensible because your mental health is everything. Your loved ones are everything. And
time with your mom is worth everything.
It was worth everything. And as I look back, I don't have the regret of, I should have been working, or I should have been this, or I should have not worked and looked after mum, and and it was great.
Needed to be.
Yeah, and our agent was very supportive. Amanda was supportive, and so you'll have those moments where you do have to take a beat. You just do.
Did having Amanda help you with, like, was there any guilt towards it where it was like, oh, maybe I should be writing, I'm letting Amanda down? Or like, was it nice having her to tell you like, no, you're good? Like,
it was wonderful because I thought that all the time. I was like, oh my gosh.
She didn't need to worry about it.
And I would apologize and she'd tell me off for apologizing. And that was really nice. She's like, look, you need to do this.
It's your mom.
And and she's like, I'm just sad I'm not there to be with you and help you. And so
I wish I could have been.
So I was very grateful for that. And because when you're in the thick of writing, a lot of times you've got deadlines, but there is compassion in there too. There is. And so, and sometimes, even if you couldn't, sometimes you've got to do what is best for you and your family. So just like in any job, I guess,
Yeah. Has writing ever affected your relationship with each other? Like, has it ever turned more business than friends? Or have you always, you seem like you're just best friends. Like, you seem like you're very good at just being friends all the time. Like, has it ever affected it or
I don't think so. No, we're like, we do say like, okay, is there any housekeeping, which is like business stuff, any housekeeping that we need to address, kind of thing. And so we'll do that or whatever. But every time we get on, there's at least an hour of just chat.
Yeah. We have to set timers.
Yeah.
Okay. You could talk for 15 minutes. Now it's your turn. You could, because we're such good friends and people ask all the time, do you ever fall out over ideas? And I guess our writing process kind of eliminates that concern. So we're lucky that way that we write the way that we do, because that gives us that free range to just still be individual while still being co-writers at the same time. So
you said it back and forth, like you write one person, then you write one person, right?
Yeah.
How long do you like have your part for before you send it back? Do you guys have like a time limit on that, or is it just like a
No,
whenever you get
but
it
if
done?
either one of us take too long, we get on the other one. We're
Yeah,
like,
like,
hello,
hey, I got ideas over here.
right?
Yeah,
You
Yeah,
guys
because
seem like you're very good
smart.
at communicating through those
Yeah,
things and like
yeah,
not being offended or take it too personal to the other person.
yeah,
Like if
yeah.
that this like if that makes sense. Like I feel like
yeah.
if someone was
No,
like,
It
no,
does.
hurry up,
totally.
it
Yeah,
hurt my feelings a little bit, depending on the person.
yeah.
Yeah, no.
Well, when I mean anyone with their best friend, you get to that point where it's like, hey, pups,
Yeah,
and then you'll have a laugh about it, and because you can say things to your bestie that you wouldn't say to pretty much anyone else on the planet, and but you get it, and you don't need to necessarily fall out over something. You could just say, hey, and and the apologies come because they didn't mean to hurt you,
yeah.
and that's the thing. Your besties never mean to actually hurt you, so it's easy to let that go.
Hmm.
What is surprising you most about writing? And then what is like like what do people romanticize about writing? Like what do people have totally off about writing?
um, I will say that it's probably the business side.
Mm,
It is so they're traditionally published and they're self-published. And they're two completely different routes, and whatever people decide, it's up to them, however they want to do it. But I think what people romanticize is how much work it's going to be. They feel like, oh, I wrote a book and I'm going to get it out there and it's just going to magically sell itself. It's just going to be a hit.
Uh-huh.
And that's
mhm.
not the case. And even if you have like a big five traditional publisher, whatever, like we have friends that are with big five traditional publishers. Like ours is a small hybrid press, but we're doing just about as much marketing as they're doing.
Uh-huh.
And so unless you're someone who got that big six-figure deal, you're not getting marketing.
Mhm.
Like they're not promoting your book for you. You have to do the legwork. And so it's a lot of time, a lot
Mhm.
of money that comes out of our budgets that I think people think, oh, doesn't the publisher do that? No,
Yeah.
not unless you got that six-figure deal.
Mhm.
You just
How do you
don't.
handle the money pressure of it? That's might be a personal question.
No, no,
It's
no.
like a
It
big
is a
pressure.
pressure.
It's a
It is.
huge pressure.
It can be crushing at times because everything is always so
Everything is money.
expensive. I mean,
Uh-huh.
we kept the rights to the audio, so we're responsible for producing that. So we get the full fee of trying to produce that, and then the full fee of getting it to be marketed out there and put onto all the different ways of being able to buy it. So it adds up very quickly. Thankfully, there's two of us,
Yeah, so we had to
um,
split it.
but it's still, you know, there are some writers that are in a lot of debt.
Yeah,
We've
it's
spoken to some,
easy.
and it's like, even for us, because we know how it goes. We spoke to somebody at one event. In fact, the one that you came to, we
Oh
spoke
yeah.
to someone at that event, and he was so far in debt trying to promote himself that I, I felt sick for him.
Hmm.
And so when you see these writers at events, at the very least, give them a wave or something, because a lot of time they've not invested just time and all of their creativity, and you do start to love your characters to a point that you're like,
They're
please be
real.
nice to them.
Yeah,
When you're reading
Uh-huh.
about them, they've got issues, and so you love your characters, your book becomes your baby, and you feel just as protective. But then you've also got debts that are accumulating because you've got to pay for that. Well, other than in like Barnes and Noble, things like that, if it's an event, you've paid for your table space. You've had to pay for all your signage. You've had to pay for,
you have to get author copies of your books, which are not free. You have
yes.
to pay for the publisher to give you books that are author copies. It's at a discount, but they're not free.
And it's not a big discount. So, even when we're providing the books, it's not,
Yeah.
and then to get into certain places, sometimes you do need to give a free copy away for them to feel like, okay, they're in this, and all
Yeah,
these things add up. And
they
so,
do.
you know so basically it's like when we see other people and they're in that sort of situation, we can very much empathize, and it's not just the odd author, it's all authors that are not in that big five.
And I have to say, we get so many, they're like spam emails that
Oh,
offer so much. They'll be like, don't you want this to be in front of 500,000 readers, and they know exactly how to get you, tug at your heartstrings, because that's what every author
Yeah.
wants.
Because you're desperate for
You're
your book to be
desperate.
read.
If you're in that much debt, you're desperate for it. Like,
You are.
And there are so many people that
There's-
get scammed, and I can't even imagine how they deal with that on top of everything else.
Yeah, it's very sad.
that is hard. Had no clue that that's how that
Yeah.
process works. You just see the books and you're like, oh, like the publisher gave it to them and they're selling it and like,
Yeah, no, it's
No. And then in addition
business.
to that, you've got your friends and family around you that are like, oh, when's this going to turn into,
a movie.
a movie? When's
Or
this going to
like-
be? Or, and it's like,
And actually, the movies and Netflix have to come to your agent
yes.
and ask. So we can't approach production companies.
Yeah.
Have to find your book and want it and ask the agent for it. So it's like, it's not even in our hands if we wanted to or not.
And I think that's one of the hardest parts of writing is a lot is out of your hands.
A lot is out of your hands.
And a lot of it, you're winging everything as far as any activities outside of writing the book. The book part is the writing's the only bit that you absolutely have full control over. But then when you accept a deal, at that point, you might be handing some rights over.
Yeah, you're subject to the editor, and sometimes you don't get as much say in what they decide they want to change and not.
Yeah.
how did you pick to decide, like, how did you decide to have the rights over your audio? Was it because you wanted to, what can they change with the audio? How does that work?
It's not necessarily that they can change, it's just the profits.
Uh-huh.
Actually,
and ours don't do audio.
Yeah,
so
they're too
we were
small.
able to,
Oh,
they're
okay.
small enough they don't do audio. They'll do e-readers, they'll do paperbacks, and they do it internationally. So we're, internationally sold. But we were able to keep those rights to that. And so the difference is we get to pick who the voices are.
Oh,
so yes, so we
Which
get
is fun.
people send us audition tapes, and we get to pick what voice we want. We get to pick the production company, and but then you still have to navigate different rights, because royalties and things like that. So
yeah, to get it distributed and stuff.
Yes.
Depending on, do you want to let them have part of your royalty so that someone else will just handle the distribution, or do you want to do it yourself? And then there's a lot more work involved in trying to get you to yourself to do it, and so it's a lot.
That's a lot. How do you not let the pressure of everyone else? You've brought up a couple times, like the pressure of everyone else telling you, like, when is this going to be moving? When is this happening? How do you not let the pressure get to you? Without, have you ever snapped at anybody? Because I feel like I will be like, stop it! After the 100th person, you're just done.
I know.
Right.
And there's sometimes you kind of get that feeling like you want me to be successful because you want help. And,
I think about that side of it. That's it.
Yes. Because, my kids, I've got 2 kids that are like, oh, I want to buy a house. Can't afford to buy a house.
Well, can you just get this?
How's your book doing? And they think they're discreet, and it's like, you're not.
Like, I want an acting career. Has it been on Netflix yet? Let's get going.
Yeah. But, I've lost my train of thought of where I was going to go. What was the question again?
Okay. So for me, you come up with like a blasé kind of push them off answer, like, oh, I don't know, why don't you tell me when it's going to be a movie? Why don't you all manifest that for us, give us some prayers, we'd love that to happen.
That's
you just
a good way to handle it.
slush it off.
I mean, I used to snip a few times in the beginning, but now I'm like, it's a process. It's a process, and I don't control how fast everybody else goes. And no one's going to pick up a book for a movie unless they think it's a successful book. Because they do judge a lot on sales and popularity and things like that. So reviews are important. We're always begging people, please, if you've read it, leave a review, because it makes such a difference to how much. I mean, for instance, if you leave one on Amazon, the more reviews we have on Amazon, the more it's going to push our book to be one of the first that show up when you look for a genre.
Yeah. Amazon has an algorithm based on the number of reviews you have.
Yes. So, well, pretty much everybody has an algorithm for things these days. And so, you could have millions of people read your book, but if nobody leaves a review, you're still stuck in the same marketing position.
Yeah.
And people don't realize, good, bad, ugly, whatever, a review is
a review.
is the best
So
thing
that
ever.
comment's still a comment. Like
Yeah.
someone comments
Yeah,
something, it
exactly.
still boosts it.
It is.
Uh-huh.
And the thing is as well is even, I mean, like we're actually very fortunate. We've got mostly good reviews. But then you want a bad review because you don't want everyone to think, well, that was my mom left all those.
Yeah.
You know, you want them to realize they're legit. And so, but when we got our first bad review, and I saw the star first of all, and I was like, oh, they hated it. Anyways, we got the 1 star because the character in the book, the main character Molly, was born in England and ever so often comes out with English phrases.
Just like Lisa Marie.
Just like me, right? And this person was like, it's obvious they've never been to England before. And I thought, well, so I couldn't really be upset because I'm like, I was born and raised there, didn't move away until my 30s. So, you know, it's like, no. And it's obviously just the dialect from different, you know, parts of the country, just like you got different accents here, but obviously this person, you know, didn't realize. But, you know, so, you know, you got to learn to laugh at some things and,
For
you know,
sure.
and the thing is, everyone's entitled to their opinions.
Yep.
And you have to respect that as a writer. That is their opinion and they're entitled. So, yeah.
That is so funny.
Yeah. Clearly they hadn't read our bio.
Yeah, that's the bio. They'd have seen, oh, she's English.
She is English.
That's really funny. I lost my train of thought because I was laughing too hard at that. What? I have my little questions up here.
Yeah.
If someone wants to become a writer, what's the first thing you're going to warn them about?
For me, I'd say find your tribe. Okay. Join book groups, writing groups in particular. You know, go to a conference, you know, that's nearby, a writers' conference. And because when you've got a community, you start to understand, oh, this is normal. Oh, I shouldn't take that personal. That's just normal. But then also they'll give you, as friends within the writing group, they'll give you critiques. And, you know, and at that level, they do try to make them a little bit nicer. You know, so it's a nice stage to get in on because they're not brutal yet.
Yeah, they'll do the writing sandwich, which is it's a compliment. In the middle is a critique that you need to work on, and then they'll end with a compliment. Yes. So it's the writing sandwich, which are much easier to take than just
a criticism.
Criticism.
Yeah.
So yeah, tribes is a really good one.
It is.
And I would say on those tribes, make sure that you're getting those people who are going to actually give you the advice you need and that you need to be able to accept, but it's not going to be perfect on the first try. It's just not. No, nobody writes that way. You know, like even Stephen King has editors who have to like fix stuff for him, you know? So just know it's not going to be perfect, and that's okay. It doesn't mean you're a bad writer. It just means that there are things that need to be fixed.
Yeah.
And that's all right.
And I'm hoping Stephen King doesn't ever watch this because he'll be like, why did you pick on me?
Now, only because you're super famous and everybody knows who you are.
Yeah, and you're brilliant.
Yeah,
I mean, I read his books. He's brilliant. So
can you guys hear my kids loud in the background?
Not at all.
No, not at all.
Okay, cool. I was like, it sounds so loud to me, but I also can't tell the microphone's picking up. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. This is a dual question. What is the lowest moment you've had in your career, and what's the highest moment you've had in your career?
Ooh. I'd say the lowest was when we first were trying to get ourselves an agent and all the rejections that came. And it's really weird. We were offered a book deal because we were sending out to publish it because we didn't know what at one point, who should we send to first? And so we didn't realize the importance of agents. And we have a brilliant agent, Nicole Payne from Confluence Literary.
She's amazing.
She is absolutely amazing. But we were sending out, and we actually got a deal offered a deal for book one. And at that point, it was a standalone one, no series book. And then at the same time, we got Nicole asking to have a meeting with us. And we had to make a decision because you don't want to mess anybody about. And it's not like, oh, you can always keep a safety net. You're just going to upset, you know, somebody because their time is precious. And so we had to make the decision, and we went the agent route. And I have never regretted it. So if anyone has that option, always go the agent route, because it's great. You've got somebody in your
In
corner
your corner.
that will fight for you. And so I'm very, very grateful.
And make sure that they match with you too. We've had some friends that have had some agents and they don't see eye to eye on a lot of stuff. And it's really made their process miserable. And they've actually had to like leave agents. Like they've had to leave agents because they just didn't mesh. And then they have to start all over. And it's just a grueling process to begin with. So to have to go through it again is just hard. And then of course they have that question where if you get a new agent, they've had this where they're like, okay, well, why did you leave your last agent? You know? And so they have to navigate that and, you know, make sure it all sounds PC without saying anything bad about the agent and still making themselves look good. And, you know, it's a struggle.
But yeah, for me, it's submissions. Submissions really get me down, because I mean, like, we'll get like the first 10 that they're like, no, not for us, not at this time, or we're not doing that specific kind of storyline right now when we're focused on this. And the thing is, the rejection process is not necessarily anything to do with you. Sometimes it's just, you know, vampires have done their bit, and so we've moved on to time travel, or we've moved on to fantasy, or, you know, and so it's just, there's fashions within you know, book genres and within subjects within those genres. So sometimes it could just be, this storyline is amazing, but it doesn't necessarily fit with what we're selling right now, so we're going to pass. And you know, because everything is subjective, that's the word everyone uses. And so there's times when I, you know, to start off with, I'm like, okay, well, you know, you're not a writer if you haven't had a rejection. And then after a while, it's like, oh my gosh, come on, guys, you know,
this is enough. This is enough.
I'm gonna have a moment in the bathroom crying.
I need to do it.
Yeah, so I'll melt down over those usually. And you know, but Amanda will be like, come on. And there's times I'm like, you know what, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. Clearly, I can't write, you know. But yeah, she'll knock me into shape. So what is it for you?
For the low, I think it's definitely the submission too. It's really hard. Like, while I can handle them, it's still a lot of rejection. And so Lisa Marie was better about telling people that we were writing than I was, because I didn't want everybody to keep asking, you know, kind of thing. And so getting all those rejections, I handled them by myself because, you know, like it was just us, you know, and nobody else knew. And so I was trying to handle it. So it was hard to handle that until we found our little group of writers, our little tribe who ended up being our beta readers, and they're always supportive kind of thing, where I could just get on the little chat and just talk to them, you know, like, oh, I got another rejection, and they, oh, I'm so sorry. And then they're always nice. So I was like, oh, you didn't want that agent anyway. They suck, blah, 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 blah. You know, like, and they just say those nice, peppy things that regardless of whether it's true or not, they're just what you need to hear.
Yeah.
You know,
they know how to boost you because they know what gets them down to. But
Yeah.
at the high, that happened for me last night. We had two separate occasions where a reader came up and they had already read our book and they loved it. And it was nice to see someone come and go, oh my gosh, I can't believe it's you. I wish I'd have bought my book. I didn't know you were here. You know, we wish you could sign it. And there are ways we can get around that so they can have the signatures. And so we're sorting that out with them. But, you know, it was really nice to meet people that had read it and they had positive things to say. And they talked to us like
we were stars.
Yeah, and it's like, for us, it's like, well, we're just us.
We're just us.
You know, we're goofy, we're
but
silly.
for them, like, that means the world. Like, that is, they were meeting a star. Like, they were meeting their favorite author. Like, that's so cool.
I know people sometimes want to take the picture with us and stuff like that, but I love getting the feedback that someone bought it, because it's like, oh, it's in the wild. Because the only people that tell us they bought it are people that you know and love, you know, or at a book signing. So for someone to say they already bought it, independent of you, not knowing who you were, they took a chance on your book when you're an unknown, and that was really nice. That was really
amazing.
Nice. Yeah, so I think that was a big one for me too. The other one is that we would sell our pitch, you know, kind of thing, and someone would walk away, and then they came back. And there was like 83 author tables at this event. And the fact that they heard what we said and like what we said, and enough to come back and buy our book was very flattering.
Yeah.
I was like,
And you
hey,
stuck
we
out in their
did it.
mind.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of people. And they remember you.
Yeah.
Like, that's a big deal.
Yeah. There were 1,800 people who bought tickets to the event. And, for them to have heard what we said, and they're like, well, we're going to look around, which I totally get. There's 83 different authors to look at there, but they liked what we said and came back for our book. So
yeah,
I
it
didn't
was
know
a nice
these book
feeling.
events were a thing until I went to yours. Like I had no
Yeah.
clue those were a thing. Like I need to find some more around me because that's so fun.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I had no
Yes.
clue.
Yeah. Oh,
Maybe I
yeah.
should maybe
So
put
and
on
on
a
our
case off.
website, we'll always put what events that we're
going
going
to.
to. And but we've also got an email on there that if anybody, even if we were not at it, if they want information about book events, there's a good chance they would probably know about something, and we're happy to let them know.
No, you can
because they promoting other authors is not taking a single thing away from you.
No.
And it's almost like, we're girls sort of thing. We're book books.
Yeah. Like there was a lady there last night that was looking for a specific genre, and she hadn't seen it yet, but we know someone who writes in that genre.
Yes.
And I was like, oh, you need to follow her on Instagram. This is her. You're going to love this book, kind of thing. And she was so grateful. She was like, oh, can you take a picture of me with you and then message her that I'm going to buy it? And I'm like, sure, and so I did. And, so that author was really happy, and she was really happy because she was kind of like, oh, I didn't find what I was looking for here. And I'm like, I've got you. We've got a friend,
That is
So
amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's so cute and sweet. Seriously, if you ever want to come to do one in Utah, you guys can stay with us.
I know.
We have cute boys, so
yes, you
they're really cute. What does writing mean to you now compared to when you first started?
Ooh, you go first.
It's part of who I am now. Like when we really, really first started, it was a hobby. Like we just went back and forth, and it was just for our own entertainment. But when we really started to take it seriously, it was kind of like, oh, okay, this is what we're going to do. Like, this is a job now. And so now when people ask, what do you do? Like I used to just say, I'm a stay-at-home mom, but now I'm an author and a stay-at-home mom. Like I do both, kind of thing. So it is part of who we are now. And, I feel like I can have pride in that because we have good books.
Like
you're on your third. Like that's a big deal.
Yeah.
It's a big deal. And I have no problems being like, oh, here's our website, here's our bookmark, whatever. And so now, whereas before, like I said, I was very quiet about it because I didn't want it to be, because once you tell someone you're writing, and then it took us 2 years to get an agent, for those 2 years, at that point, they're like, are you a writer?
Yeah.
It's been 2 years. I think you just do it as a hobby. But it wasn't. We were actively trying. We took it as a job, and we even make a schedule out of it, like Monday through Friday from like 9 to 3. This is what we do. And the only people who get to interrupt are our kids. Always do. But
always do. Sometimes we'll say, I'll call you back, but
we try. And
depends on the drama.
Oh, facts.
What about you?
Oh gosh. I think a little bit of what you're saying there. And for me, I love the characters that we come up with. I really start to love them. They become quite real. And I almost feel like if I'm not writing, I'm letting them down a little bit, because I'm like, because the thing is, you'll start writing and sometimes it feels like they're starting to tell the story. There's a point where they take over because you know your characters so well. You're like, oh, they would never say that. What am I thinking? And so they start to develop it, because we will write so much that is not in the book. We'll do complete bios for these people, for our characters, including their family, their aunts, their uncles. Everyone's got a description. Where do they live? And do they have a dog? And, and we'll go into all these details and what their dynamic is with those family members, even if those family members don't come into the book, because it actually becomes who that person is. And so we want to write good characters that people enjoy. That's really important to me, because like when I love to read, and I read so many different genres, but I love to read. And the thing that will captivate me, other than true crime, obviously, the thing that will captivate me is a character. And I mean, I've read some books by some brilliant writers, but if I can't connect with the main character, it's a bust for me. It's really difficult for me, and I've got to force myself through the book, and yet it could be a top-notch book. That's an international world bestseller, New York Times bestseller, and everybody loves it. And that author, and
except me.
Except me. So yeah, sometimes I'm like, there's something wrong with me. I didn't connect with the character, but it's become a really important thing to me, and so it kind of makes me feel legit that I care about who I'm writing about. Because when you hear writers and they're like, oh, my characters feel like family, you're like, somebody needs a doctor. You need to get out more and find some friends. But they do become your friends. Family. It's a very normal thing. It is.
It's fun. Eventually you guys need to release those bios like on a website or something.
Yes.
So
I know, right?
We should. Yeah.
Is there anything, we've been talking for so long and I feel like I could keep on talking to you for forever.
We can talk forever.
I know. I'm like, we're all talkers. Why I started a podcast, because I just like to talk.
Yes.
Is there anything else you want to add? Is there anything else we didn't talk about? Is there any final anything?
Okay. Well, just our writing process, really. I mean, we go back and forth. We take a character each, as you mentioned, but we don't outline our story. So I'll write chapter 1, and then I'll send it to Amanda, and that's the first she knows what's happening in the book. And then she'll write her chapter, send it to me, and she's enlightened me because I did not know where the story was going. And we go back and forth like that, almost like the game of telephone, where the story at the end is not what you thought at the beginning. Yeah. But the thing is it really works for us because it becomes an adventure for us. And then all of our reactions within the book are very organic and natural because it's, although it can be a little weird at times because you're like, oh my gosh, I'm totally swooning. And my bestie wrote this. That's wrong. That's wrong on so many levels. But so yes, we'll always pick who we want as our main character guy and decide on them together. So we're both, so that during those swoon moments, I'm thinking of the right person. Yeah. And so, but yes, it's an adventure for us and we enjoy it so much. It's easy for us to say to people that we hope you have the adventure we did.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure. Yeah, the only thing we ever do together is like I'll need to know all about her character so that when I write that character's part in my chapter that I know, like
so that's why the character bio.
That's why we have the character bio, so I can kind of guess what. And since we've been best friends for 20 years, like so I'm like, okay, if Lisa Marie's doing this with this character, then this is probably going to work for them in my chapter as I'm the guy with this girl and what her reaction would be, kind of thing. So that's the only thing we share that way, but it's so much fun.
And we hope that the readers because in each chapter, my kids and yours have both said, oh my gosh, I can tell you wrote this. Oh my gosh, I remember when you did that. Yeah. And so, when you read in any of our books, there's parts of us in there. So you'll be getting to know us too. People kind of get to know us as, as they're discovering our characters, because there's a piece of us within each one of them.
Yes. And we do banter like this and we do go back and forth like this in real life too.
That is so much fun. I've loved talking to you. I've really enjoyed talking to you guys. That was
you too. Thank you for having us.
So much fun. I know we need to have another one. We do it.
I know, right?
I know. I was listening to a podcast yesterday. It was 3 hours, and I was like, "How do they talk this long?" And I get that you could talk for like I could talk to you guys for 3 hours.
Easily.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. I am going to put the link to your GoFundMe in the description for this.
Thank you.
Because everyone needs to do out because of these audiobooks.
Any support would help. Any support would help.
Anything. Yes.
Love that. Okay. And I will also link all your socials and everything and the link to the Amazon book and all of that thing, all those things.
And thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.